deal with. Yeah.
What are they saying?
From the Nick Williams.
He said, fuck you. I said, fuck you too. He said, tell Farthing I'm here. I said, it's not possible because I'm eating squares. I made him sit there in the background and now I'm just talking over him. I don't know him yet, but, you know, I'm just saying, if he's still there. It was a
well, I'm the guy who's accusing Stephen Farthing of abducting me. So why didn't you tell him that I was waiting for him?
Sorry, say again, mate.
I'm the guy that I'm accusing Stephen Farthing of abducting. So why didn't you tell him I'm waiting? And can you please ask Stephen Farthing to let Jim back on?
Jim left, mate. Jim was having a good chat.
Yeah, but he left because there's no getting by Stephen Farthing without me.
Mate, I don't control Steve.
If you actually want to get to the truth. No, but because you're there and Steve, can you let Jim back on, please, if he's willing to come back into the backstage? And then we can have an adult conversation four-way. Why not?
No.
Why have you just let me on the minute that Jim has left?
Well, because I wanted to talk. Well, Jim wanted to talk to me, and like I said when you was in the background, I said you're only here to talk to me because Jim's here. Okay. Now, did you notify me? Did you notify me at 3 o'clock in the morning when you were having a talk with Jim the other day? No, you did not. Did Jim contact me? No, you did not. Did I invite Jim here? No, I did not. It was a spontaneous. This is a spontaneous opportunity where Jim is. Listen,
and John Clark from the Auto Press wanted to talk to you about your associates.
Nick, shut up. Listen, you asked me a question. I was trying to answer you. So shut your fucking Keiko. Listen once, because I won't repeat myself for you again.
Good.
Right. So shut your fucking mouth then. Ask me a question.
Why did you say the other day that your mother nonced you and your siblings out?
Why are you interested in noncing?
What? Because it's a claim that you made live on video, you idiots. I'm not interested.
Right.
You are.
And what has it got to do with you? And what has it got to do with you?
Because there's a nonce associated that you're alleged to be associated with who's involved in a very, very serious crime of a little girl's abduction. You abducted me, and somebody wants to...
Something else.
He's diverting all the time. Yeah. He's a sick puppy. Yeah, he's done something really bad in his life.
Diverter, Stephen Farthing.
He's a sick puppy.
Look, you've got someone that doesn't exist who pretends that he's called Tim Driscoll to big you up, who's live there with you, and here I am for 5 minutes. Why don't you spend your valuable time with me, the guy that's alleging you for the crime that you are eventually going to pay for?
Right,
your
Nick,
problem is putting me and Jim and you on the same platform and keeping control of us. You're a control freak. Do you agree that you're a control freak?
Do you agree you're a control freak?
I'm not a control freak at all.
Are you sure?
What about you? I asked the question first. What about you, Steve? Are you a control freak?
Are you an attention seeker?
Not even slightly. I'm
Are you a pervert? Are you a nonce? Are you a sexual predator?
No,
are you a sexual predator? Are you a sexual predator? Are you obsessed with grotesque sceneries? Are you obsessed with grotesque criminal activities of the worst of the worst? I mean, sex offences and missing children. I mean, you are a sick puppy to be investigating such, aren't you?
I am exposing it because it offends me so very much, which is why I will
never let you.
So
what can you tell me about John Clark? What can you tell me about John Clark and his book? What can you tell me about John Clark and his book that you interfered with?
Not a thing. You spread rumors like they're going out of date every single day. Endless.
Have you read Tim O'Driscoll's book? Have you read Tim O'Driscoll's book? Have you read Tim O'Driscoll's book?
You're full of shit. You are so full of fucking shit. You got a Tim Driscoll sitting next to you
Are
there.
you stalking me? Are you stalking me? Are you
Let's see his
stalking me?
ugly face. Let's see
Are you
Tim's fucking ugly face. You cunt, Tim.
Are you
Fucking
are
get
you
off the
stalking
camera,
me?
fucking
Nick,
skunk.
Nick, put yourself on camera. Show us Thailand. Yeah, get
Fuck
out of your
yourself.
apartment. Yeah, get out of
you.
your apartment in Orkiva and show me Thailand. Show me Thailand.
Go to my channel if you want to look at me.
Show me no, because he got
Wait, yo, Nick.
he's looking for Tim O'Driscoll.
Can I ask?
Yeah, he
Nick a
came on
question?
talking about Tim O'Driscoll here. Now he wants to see Tim O'Driscoll's face.
Wait, can I ask Nick a question?
Yep.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, Nick, are you there,
Yes,
mate?
hello.
Yeah. Can you tell me your story about how you got kidnapped? This is very
Good
intriguing.
man, that's a fucking great question. Thank you. Jim is the only one who's cracked the code. He's the only person on planet Earth who's received all the information, who actually 4 days ago now spent 10 minutes explaining from his point of view exactly what happened to me, and he's spot on. I'm amazed that Stephen Farthing's walked off to let me tell you on his channel, but basically what happened was the editor of the English expat newspaper that has a readership of 1 million Brits in Spain per year sent me, by asking me on text messages and messenger, to please go and see Stephen Farthing, who lived 1 kilometre from me. He was alleging that Stephen Farthing was associated with the alleged suspect, the official German suspect, who's in German prison at the moment. The chief German prosecutor wants to speak to anybody who knows that man, and Stephen Farthing, who abducted me, knows that abductor, the alleged abductor, the official.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, how did you get abducted? Can you tell me the story of how you got abducted?
Well, this is complicated, so thank you for keeping me online, and excuse me, and it's a good question. Stephen Farthing, when I went to speak to him, convinced me that he wasn't associated, and I left it at that. I left him alone for 14 months, and prior to the abduction, he had got in contact with me. We had been in no communication, despite what he says. We weren't friends. I left him to the privacy of his own life, wondering about why John Clark sent me to see Farthing. In the year and more since I met Farthing, I exposed and continue to expose criminals, which is where all these problems have come from, in the town where I lived, which is the place where the suspect also lived, and where Farthing came and abducted me and lived himself, and was associated, allegedly, by the editor, to be friends of the gang. Now, the German prosecutor wants to speak to Stephen Farthing because he is associated. Whether it's true or not is not for me to determine. What I do know, though, my friend, is that Stephen Farthing abducted me, and he's associated to a child abductor. So that's really the answer.
You still haven't told me like how he
put a false plan together that he put together over 14 months, putting me in extreme danger in my apartment. So I was forced home invaded, and I was taking people to court. The courts didn't like that, the locals didn't like that, and the people that I took to court didn't like that. The lawyers didn't like that, and I had a fight with the mayor and the judge, who are both perverts, protecting people like Stephen Farthing and potentially the abductor of Madeleine McCann. And what they're trying to do is to pervert the course of justice from me and any possibility of getting to the truth in the child abduction case. So what Farthing did was to put a case, a promise, a false promise of a sanctuary, a safe sanctuary, which would fit and suit me to my needs, which we then discussed just before he came around with a man and a van to drive me and the entire contents of my house, every last possession that I had in this world. He robbed from me. He beat me when the van driver left the following day. He beat me. He held me under force. He beat me for 40 minutes on video while I was in the van that I was paying for. He's made up all kinds of stories about me being the problem and him trying to handle and manage me by spinning the fact that I'm angry beyond belief on YouTube. That's as angry as I has ever been. Now, I don't expect you to believe that amongst a whole fist fuck of liars, but Stephen Farthing is the most supreme liar, and I'm the most truthful person that you'll ever meet in this corner of YouTube, maybe with Jim as the only other exception. And I'm not sniffing his ass or blowing smoke up his ass. He's the only person that's bothered to look into this closely enough and to give me a fair hearing. Over 14 months, I've been trying to tell Jimmy what happened to me. Steve drove me away and held me hostage.
Hello.
He robbed me with everything I own. He beat me, and he's now spinning a lie about it.
Yeah, Nick, let's have a conversation, bro. Let's have a conversation, right? So I don't know anything about this. Yeah, I have no clue what
happened.
You've got to treat me like an absolute complete noob. Yeah, I know nothing.
Well, now you've put yourself in that position. Excuse me for leaping onto you earlier. I thought you were placed there to keep us apart, but excuse me for that.
Anyway, right, Nick, I know nothing, right? So anyway, what I'm saying is,
and excuse me, I thought that was being set up.
So my actual question was, how did you get abducted? Like, you know, was you in your house one day, and the next thing you know, like, I mean, was it kind of planned?
Yeah, I was under such extreme danger living where I was because the police wouldn't protect me. I was being forced home invaded and attacked within my own home and robbed. These are multiple and separate occasions. Stalked, hunted, death threatened so many times you really wouldn't believe it. And I'm not a coward, and I don't I'm going to deal with that challenge, and I don't really care what the results are. So what Farthing did was to put a very devious plan together, having hacked my Facebook expose page, which is called Orgiver Massive, and it's still in existence. And I was using that to expose some real local scumbags, people just like Stephen Farthing. But I was exposing gang member friends of the suspect of Madeleine McCann, including now Stephen Farthing, which he doesn't like. And you can understand why he doesn't like it, because he lives a really seedy, shifty, lying lifestyle. Like Stephen Farthing is a proper scumbag. I swear on my life that nothing I'm telling you is deliberately.
So you was living in a house. You were in a really bad situation, but why?
I was in paradise, absolutely paradise, but surrounded by crack trafficking monsters and predatory people who were looking for vulnerable people to prey upon. Stephen Farthing, in his predatory, he's a predator. Stephen Farthing knows that what I'm saying to you is absolutely the truth, and something will give him a twisted pleasure from this. He's an ultimate predator, and you will discover this. When Stephen Farthing eventually faces justice, what I'm talking about isn't important. Farthing, if you will admit to what you did to me, I will drop charges against you, and I will only pursue the other charges from other people and the crimes that you've committed against others. I will drop the charges if you, Stephen Farthing, will admit to what you actually did. I'm not going to give you.
Why were you being stalked by other people? So it was other people stalking you.
Because I exposed it publicly on my Facebook page. I had 2,500 subscribers in a little town run by fascists who hated me because they ran the crime in the town, not me. And I was a threat to them.
Exposing crime you were hated.
I exposed the mayor, I exposed the police, and I exposed the people breaking into my house and breaking my bones. So you can understand that that's not a popular move to do that locally, and probably rather stupid.
Where did you expose this to then? To Facebook, was it? Or?
To Facebook, called Orgiver Massive, and Orgiver is the town I lived in, and where Stephen Farthing lives 40 minutes from by direct line, and where all these scumbags come from, and Madeleine McCann's abductor lived. So I'm only putting myself in this position because I'm one person surrounded by people who chose to stalk, hunt, death threat me and follow out with their promises by actually physically harming me on a great many different occasions. So I think that answers some of your questions, but certainly not all. So I want justice. I want to end this. I don't want to be anywhere near infamy or scumbaggery or YouTube at all under any circumstances. I'm extremely
when you got kidnapped, right? When you got kidnapped, you weren't in England then. You were in a different. You were in Spain, were you? Or
it's a great question, and it's important to me. Abduction, kidnap, or whatever happened is not the point. But the fact that I accused him of kidnap is a subtle legal matter. And I believe it's very possible that because I'm contesting that he pre-planned this with great effort, time, and contacting the people that were enemies on mine on Augiver Massive, he hacked my website. So he had full control, blocked me out of it, and had access to the people that most hate me. The crackheads that would come and break my bones and rob me, who I would expose on Facebook. They hated me with a passion. There's many more scumbags in Augiver than there are any good people. So they had the majority, and I was the problem that was going away, wasn't I? And eventually,
if you have any evidence of all of this, if you have any evidence of all, yeah, the main thing really, mate, is if you have any evidence of all of this.
Reports to my barrister in the UK, my lawyer in Spain, and also the police and the local judge, the local mayor, Mark Williams Thomas, who was the investigative police source of information about the Madeleine McCann Netflix series, the most expensive documentary ever produced, apparently. And they want to speak to Stephen Farthing. They haven't mentioned him by name because they didn't then know that he existed, but they know now that this channel exists and where Stephen Farthing's GPS coordinates are that can be discovered on Google Earth. And the Moroccan man who Stephen Farthing beat the same night that he beat me. It's a bit of a coincidence, Farthing, that the night that you took 600 euros out of my bank account, escorting me by forced marching me down to La Mamola ATM machine, you should suddenly get in a fight with that Moroccan man who helped me and was a witness to the fact to some degree, and also that I could have supported the case against you as well, which you have completely prefabricated and lied about. You have never ever served time under any conditions for beating that Moroccan man. He was not violent to you at all. Under any circumstances, you beat him, and you also beat a friend of his who was also in the bar the next day. Farthing abducted me the very weekend of Halloween, and I escaped on the very night of Halloween. And the only way that I could do that...
What country were you in when you got abducted? Was it England or Spain?
No, it was up a very remote mountain where he's living at this very moment in a dog shit-filled house in extreme discomfort with... 8 dogs he had then. What did you do with the dogs, Farthing?
At them.
I think you killed them by hand.
Nick, let me explain. No, Nick. Listen, I got a bone to pick with you. Listen, Nick, I got a bone. He fucked off. Good, stupid cunt. Or did you cut him off?
Hilarious. What happened?
I don't know. He must have jumped off. He run.